Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 209 of Bill Man the Sport Guys podcast. I'm your host, Bill Man the Sports Guy. For the latest news of the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and college sports, this is the podcast to be. And for every thoughts and opinions you have, you can always reach out to me on Twitter at Billman Sports, Instagram at Billman Sports Guy, and here on YouTube at Billman Sports Guy. All right, let's get to some sport topics today. Not a whole lot has happened, but we're going to get to it. First, let's do a little baseball because baseball is still currently happening. But before we do that, there's actually one big NFL news that came out. It's that Aaron Rodgers has signed with a team. Can you take a wild guess who he signed with? I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, I'll actually give you 10 more. If you guessed the Pittsburgh Steelers, give yourselves a pat on the back. You are correct. Aaron Rodgers is a Pittsburgh Steeler. Now, Aaron Rodgers, we all know, was with the Green Bay Packers basically throughout most of his career, spent his last two seasons with the New York Jets, and is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. I'm a little confused with Pittsburgh's thought process because they basically went from Russell Wilson to Aaron Rodgers. Eek. Excuse me. Let's also not forget that they lost Justin Fields in free agency. Aaron Rodgers was okay, but he really wasn't the greatest on the New York Jets. And I think part of the problem was on him. And with Aaron Rodgers, I really don't see how this is an upgrade for Pittsburgh. Yes, he's won a Super Bowl. Yes, he's been to the playoffs like almost numerous times throughout his entire career. Hall of Famer, sure, but I don't know if the Steelers look like a playoff team this year. For years, I've tried to keep my expectations with them as 500 or better until further notice. Right now, they look like 500, maybe under 500. I want to know your guys' thoughts because I think Aaron Rodgers, it's fine, but is this really the move the needle for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because we can all agree this is not long term. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on it because I like Aaron Rodgers, the player, but he just isn't what he was during his days with Green Bay. And I don't know if this is just good for the long term. With all the weapons in Pittsburgh, maybe it'll help Rodgers a bit. And Rodgers does have a good throwing arm, but that's really it. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on that one. Then, with that, let's quick update on the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals. Both series are tied at one. The Oklahoma City Thunder did win their game today. And I think both of them are going to be 6, 7 game series. This should be entertainment, right? At its finest, folks. All right, let's go to a little bit of baseball. So today, if you guys can't tell, I attended the Milwaukee Brewers versus the San Diego Padres finale of the 3 game series, and the Padres won 1-0. I really wanted a good game out of it, and my prayers were answered. I did win. I did win with a few friends and a few of my former teammates from my Special Olympic basketball days. One current, two former. But anyway, we went to the game, and it was actually a lot of fun. Freddie Peralta was the starter. Uh, Alex Beggert, hope I said it right, was the starting pitcher for the San Diego Padres. Both went really well. Beggert went 5.1 innings, gave up one hit, did walk four, but he struck out four, so not bad. And the bullpen, Matsui, Willie Peralta, Adam, and Suarez did the job. Got it done for the 1-0 win. Freddie Peralta did well, 6 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, only 3 strikeouts. Rob Zanestri did give up the lone run, which was all it took was a solo home run by Manny Machado, and it was a blast to left field. And then Ashby did good. So it was really a pitching duel, fun time. And I always give the Milwaukee Brewers and any other team that has a dome credit because it did start raining and the Brewers closed the dome. I wish every single major league stadium would have a dome. And I said it back in episode number 200. If every team were to have a dome, it takes away the problem of rain delays. Boom. But our owner's going to be willing to spend a little extra more money just to get the dome. I don't know. But could it solve the problem? Yes, because then we could still continue 162 regular games as scheduled before the postseason, and you don't have to worry about changing dates and all. So, quickly with the offense, really, I mean, it was 7 hits total. Manny Machado, 1 for 3 with a walk. Tyler Wade went 1 for 2, and then Jake Cronenworth 1 for 3 for the Brewers. William Contreras went 1 for 3. Reese Hoskins 1 for 2 with a walk, and Joey Ortiz 1 for 4. Sam Frelick went 1 for 3, and that was about it. So thought it was a good game overall. Thought I'd get my thoughts on it because I was actually there in person. So yeah. Also with baseball, I'm gonna give you guys my very early MLB All-Star votes because I just submitted. So the one thing I'm gonna ask fans this. Should Major League Baseball actually allow us fans to vote for pitchers too? Because I think that sounds fair, but it's kind of tragic that yes, we can vote for hitters, but not pitchers. So let me know your thoughts on that. Anyway, my main thought process when I went through this was I kind of went off of OPS and who was really top 3 to 5 in OPS. So while it's easy to pick some of the biggest superstars and whoever has the highest OPS, home runs, all that, and there were a couple few players I just wanted to give a little bit of shout out to. So first off, we're going to do the American League. First, I picked up Jose Aranda from the Tampa Bay Rays, who's actually having a really good year. For second base, Gleyber Torres of the Detroit Tigers was like my clear number 1 pick. Alex Bregman for third base of the Boston Red Sox. For even though he's hurt right now, but for the season he was having with the Red Sox, I take it. Now, shortstop, Chase Mydroth. I had to pick one White Sox hitter, and I think Chase Mydroth is the one. I've seen him play at times, and I like I like his style, how he basically grinds out every at bat. Yeah, his numbers don't wow you, but he's the definition of a back grinder, and has actually played solid defense this season at shortstop, second base. So this is so in terms of White Sox hitters, Chase Mydroth was my clear one, and I wanted to give him a bit of shout out. For the outfield, I picked Willie Abreu of the Boston Red Sox. They're having a solid year, quite clear. Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, who's actually having a phenomenal year, and Tyler Soderstrom of the Sacramento Athletics. Yikes, that's going to get you a little bit used to. I picked him as my other outfielder. Now, for speaking of Sacramento Athletics, I also went with Brent Rooker, who's also having a solid good year. And then catchers, I went with Cal Raleigh, who was just absolutely going off in the home run department. Now, for National League, while yes, Freddie Freeman and Pete Alonso are going to get in pretty much and most likely, I wanted to give a little shout out to Michael Bush, who's of the Chicago Cubs, who is clearly having an underrated year on an underrated Chicago Cubs team. Second base and third base was a quite clear pick. Third base, I went with Manny Machado for the National League from the San Diego Padres. And for the Arizona Diamondbacks, I went with Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Machado's the San Diego Padres. Okay. Shortstop, I went with Francisco Lindor, who's actually having a good year for the Mets. Now, the outfield was tough, but kind of easy. I went with Kyle Tucker and Pete Crow Armstrong, both from the Chicago Cubs. Pete Crow Armstrong have an amazing year at the plate. We don't know. I'm curious to see what kind of hitter he's going to be for throughout his entire career, and Kyle Tucker, who was just one of the best right fielders in all baseball. And then I also went with James Wood of the Washington Nationals, who is criminally good in the outfield. Catcher was easy. I went with Carson Kelly, who's having a phenomenal year at the plate for the Chicago Cubs. And DH, do I have to explain? It's Shohei Ohtani, the best player in all baseball. So those are my picks. For the American League, I went with Anadra, Torres, Bregman, Mydroth, Abreu, Judge, Soderstrom, Riley, Rooker. And then for the National League, I went with Bush, Marte, Machado, Lindor, Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, James Wood, Carson Kelly, and Shohei Ohtani. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on that one. And who do you have going to the All Star? I'm really curious to know your thoughts on this. So, as we go to more news that have happened recently, it's so a little NHL fact that I wanted to give your thoughts on. So, most Stanley Cup Finals appearance in the entire history of the NHL. At number one, actually, we're going to go from 10 to 1. Number 10, the New York Islanders with 5. At number 9 and 8, kind of at number 9, the Pittsburgh Penguins, 8 and 7, kind of a tie, or pretty much a tie, basically. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Edmonton Oilers with 8. At number 6, the New York Rangers with 11. Number 5, the Chicago Blackhawks with 13. Number 4, the Boston Bruins with 20. Number 3, the Toronto Maple Leafs with 21. Number 2, the Detroit Red Wings with 24. And last but not least, the Montreal Canadiens with 33 at number 1. Let me know your thoughts on that fact. I just want to give you all that. So, there was also a bit of a controversy in baseball. So, earlier this week, between the Boston Red Sox and the Los Angeles Angels, Red Sox first base coach, or the head coach of the Boston Red Sox, was caught stealing signs during the match against the Los Angeles Angels and Tyler Anderson. And Tyler Anderson gave up 5 earned runs in the 6th inning of the Angels' loss. And the next day, Tyler Anderson and the Boston Red Sox first base coach, they got into a heated argument. And it was really a bit of a beef. And it was actually like crazy at one point where we all thought we were going to get a clear like brawl, which is absolutely nuts. So, you know, so the Red Sox first base coach, which is his name is Jose Flores, by the way. Flores did not look professional whatsoever during that scene. And I'll say this, if Flores were to fight against an NBA player, NFL player, or an NHL player, Flores would have gotten squashed. And I don't know what the Red Sox were thinking. This was clearly not the way to go. Let me know your thoughts on it because it was just wild overall. Next up, we do have 2 NHL awards to talk about. Sean Monahan of the Columbus Blue Jackets was awarded the Bill Masterson Trophy, and Johnny Gaudreau's wife, Meredith Gaudreau, it was just awesome. It was just the way to see because John and Sean were longtime teammates with during their stint with the Calgary Flames, and I just thought it was incredible. And now with The other NHL award that was announced was, if I can actually find it, here we go. Washington Capitals head coach Spencer Carberry wins the 2024-2025 Jack Adams Award. Congrats to him. Capitals were really underrated. That's really all I gotta say. Let me know your thoughts on that. And yeah, and then the last NHL thing I did want to throw out before we end today's episode is Jason Robertson of the Dallas Stars. There's now rumors that the Dallas Stars could trade him, and it's also because the Dallas Stars have the absolute least amount of cap space entering in the offseason at 4.96 million. Two of their biggest free agents are JB Ben and Matt Duchene. What do the Dallas Stars need to do? Because they have to keep Jason Robertson. Let me know your thoughts on it. And that is all for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 209 of Bill Man the Sport Guys podcast. I'm your host, Bill Man the Sports Guy. For the latest news of the NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL, and college sports, this is the podcast to be. Stay tuned for episode number 210. Peace.